So I walk through the walks of life, and sometimes I sit on my bed and ask myself that how can I become successful? Success that they are even saying, is it even true? Is it real? Is it something that people just inherited, or it was something that people, just some set of people, they were just bound to have, but we are not part of it or something like that. But I tend to realize that it's not true. I was actually deceiving my own self. Success is something that goes beyond what I actually understand. You see, there should be an inner drive, and sometimes people struggle to get this inner drive. See, where I am taking this video is an inner drive. I have to just come take the video, and it's not just taking the video sake, but there's an inner drive that's pushing me to do it, and that inner drive is what I refer to as God, or your inner being. So you see, God is actually the source of life. And when you read physics or from science, we know that the source of the energy that we see around is the sunlight. And light actually plays a major role in everything that we do. And when you read Genesis will let you know that in the beginning there was chaos. And God said, let there be light, and there was light. And our main source of energy too is light. So you see, there's a connection. And when I sit down to analyze this connection from the physics background I'm coming from and looking at how this life is, I just come to the conclusion that without God, there is no success, because God is actually the light. He said, let there be light, and there was light. And because of this light, you are able to do certain things. Because of light, now the plant is able to grow, and from that chain of cycle, from the plant, some animals feed on the plant, and we human beings to feed on that animal or those animals, and with that, life continues within that cycle. So yes, you want to be financially stable, which is very important, but always acknowledge the light in your life, which is God. Always have time with God. There are many people who have been financially stable, successful, but they take God very seriously. Sometimes you see them out in the open, you think that they are just living life without actually appreciating God. But within them, in their comfort zones or in their closed doors, they actually have time with God, because this is what I've actually personally encountered, that yes, it's good that you do go out, do your best, but just also acknowledge God, because God is the one who turns the tides of things, who makes things happen. Because many people in history, King Nebuchadnezzar was one of the greatest leaders, but it got to a time that he had to bow down to God. You see, Moses became one of the greatest leaders that we've seen in history, and he was moved by God. Even on the American dollar, they say that in God we trust. So yes, everything that you are doing, the money that you have been looking for, they've written in God we trust. Even in some countries, they appreciate God a lot. And God, in a sense, that a form of deity that you are worshiping. And I will always say that God is the source of everything that we are looking up to. For me, as a Christian, I believe in Jesus, and I know that Jesus is the source of strength. And I know, yes, if you're also watching me, believe in Jesus. Jesus is the source of everything that we are going through. So acknowledge God in everything that you do, because without God, for me, the equation of success is not complete. You can go through all the ties. Some people actually did a lot. When you read the Bible makes us understand that there was this man who was successful when he said, my soul, just enjoy. And God took his life from him. Not because of he becomes successful, but he neglecting that God is the supreme, the prime of everything that he has. So yes, it's good to work hard. It's good to struggle in everything that you are doing your best, bend the candle, become successful in every place that you find yourself. But don't forget the God factor. I always advise people that, yes, no matter how young you are, no matter how ambitious you are, never neglect God. Because whether you like it or not, God will always be your source. Because looking at the connection, using the physics background, as I said earlier, we have the sunlight as our main source of energy. God said in Genesis that let there be light, and there was light. Just think about it. Even if you don't believe in God, looking at the connection, light in the scientific background is their main source of energy from the sun. And looking at the Bible, God said let there be light, and there was light. And you see that the light became the source of the universe. So you see that in context, just making your small connection, connecting the dots, you can see that indeed God is our source. And you should never forget that, because without God, everything that you are doing will be in vain. Without God, you can rise to some levels, but you just fall like that. Because God is the one who lifts. That's why we say that God is the lifter of men. Without God in your life, I'm not sure you can actually reach the level. And when I say reach the level, I'm not talking about material things. Some people, they have cars, they have luxury, and they think that is all. But when you talk about having a successful, healthy, prosperous life, it means that within yourself, you can see that you have joy. You see, I got to a point in life that I was almost successful in some way because I wasn't struggling. But within me, I sometimes I can sit on my bed and see that no, the guy is not well. There's something within me that I have to fix, and that is the part that you have to bring God in it. Because whether you like it or not, you may be financially stable, you may be stabilized in everything that you do, but you see that inside you there is something that needs to be patched. There's some holes and potholes somewhere, and this is the part that you have to make sure that you put God there. You put God there, and you make sure God becomes your Alpha and your Omega, your beginning and the end. Because if you don't start with Him, I doubt you can end with Him. Because God has, and one thing I like about God is that though we always think that we know the best, though we always think that we have all the ideas in this world, but He has time for us. He gives us opportunities to become what He has called us to be. And I love God so much, and I acknowledge that you watching me to take God serious, because in everything that I'm saying in my videos, this financial thing I'm talking about every single day, how to become successful, if I don't recommend God to you, everything that I'm saying will just be in vain. So take God serious, because whether you like it or not, He's our source of energy, He's our source of life. Because we're looking at the scientific background, the sunlight is our main source of energy. God said let there be light, and there was light. Let God be your light, and I know you are closer to your success than you think.